I'm the one that's ready to pounce. How could such a cute puss be so dangerous? It's a naughty thought that counts. Now all that fur and purring gives me cause to pause. She may have a pretty kitty, boo, watch out for those claws. Well, curb your cat, well, seize your cocktail, have a little say. Or refuse it and you lose it. Do you think it's back to drink with catnip?
Welcome to Sin City Bounty.
.com. That took a moment.
Yeah, it's been a minute. It
has been a minute.
Yeah. Welcome back to Sin City Bounty. I know we have been gone for a long ass time, but first it was the holidays, and then it was my fault. Well, not my fault, my old ass computer's fault.
You guys did a thing last week, though.
We did.
We did.
And then we did so for those of you who don't know, my main computer took a crap on me. Decided it was not going to run our broadcast software at the same time as our meeting software, so we couldn't do anything. Oh, and then I couldn't stream to Facebook either, because it was like, nah, son, you can't open but one program at a time. So I called my boyfriend who works in this for a living, and I was like, and he's like, I got you, boo, bring it over, I'll get the parts, we'll get it fixed. So that's what I did. Got the parts, got it fixed. In the meantime, while my computer was dying a slow death and I was bitching about it, my roommate bought me a computer, a desktop, an old desktop that had been refurbed and updated and upgraded and stuff. And that's what we broadcast on last week when we did that fun little after the show sort of streaming thing, if you tuned in.
Right.
That's because...
And we, just to share, that wasn't until we thought we were going to delete it.
Yeah.
And then afterward, we're like, bleh, just leave it.
We just kept going. Yeah, it was just going to be a quick thing. And then I think we did 20 minutes or some shit like that. Absolutely hilarious. But anyway, yeah. I was testing the computer and it works. That computer works great. But we are back to my main computer, my laptop. This is a trial run. Should something happen to this broadcast, please stay tuned. We'll be back. So far... everything is running the way it should be. I haven't dropped any frames. We're running at 30 frames per second. There isn't a lot of stuttering or stammering. We're going to do a different trial run next week, by the way, where I am bringing everyone in and broadcasting out from two different computers. It's a totally different thing. I know I can do it. It can be done. I'm going to give it a try. So anyway. So that the CPU isn't trying to process 5 things at a time, because that's kind of what it's trying to do. So we'll see if that makes things a little bit smoother.
Bring it
up. I'm glad you're savvy like that.
I have Google. I love how everyone is like, you're so smart, you know so much about these things, la 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 la, and I'm like, I don't know shit. FYI, I know Google. I do it at work all the time. This thing happened last week where they were like, oh my God, we need this particular thing, but we need it to be this one specific thing different from this thing. So I put that in the search bar, the exact, what they were looking for, just the words. And then I hit search, and then I found 4 of them. And they were like, oh, you're a miracle worker. We couldn't find these at all. And I was like, okay. Then they come back and they're like, oh, but it could have been this thing or any of these other innumerable variations. And I was like, you guys, it would have been much easier if I'd known that from the beginning. If you just said it needs to be at least 2.5 amps, but it can be bigger than that, I would have had a laundry list of choices for them. It wasn't until after I'd spent 4 hours searching, 4 minutes searching.
I'm a fan of Google on how to do things too. I did learn how to change my windshield wipers from YouTube after a Google search.
I do the same. I feel I'm a kid now because I take care of my ship via YouTube videos. And it's usually like this same old guy in his garage too.
So I am a certified licensed Excel expert. I went to a bunch of classes. I got I can put it on my resume. I will tell you that on the second day of training, towards the end of the training, the guy gets done and he's like, thank you all for paying for these classes. Here's your certificates, blah, 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 blah. You'll be registered in the system, certified with Microsoft as an Excel expert, blah, blah, blah. By the way, you could have learned all of this through Google. And so I immediately forgot everything he taught me. And now whenever someone needs me to do something super complicated, I just Google that shit. And if I can't find it, I go into one of my mini Excel expert chat rooms or leaderboard message boards, and I'm like, I need to do this particularly complicated formula. And then 5 minutes later, some fucking Excel nerd will be like, well, if you if this and then blah, 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 and the superlative and the blah, 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 and I'm like, thanks, copy, paste.
I was, there's a bunch of memes out there that are going around about how it was so awesome to live back in the day before internet and computers. And, I stayed out until the lights came on and liked this post if you're a child of the 80s or the 70s or whatever. And I'm like, motherfucker, I love having a supercomputer in my pocket that I can look up anything that I want. I can learn how to do stuff on the internet or off the internet just from a Google search. I love it.
I never really get the point of those. It's like, for myself, I like that I had more technology available to her than I did at that age. Like, I think it's a good thing. Like, it's an investment. Like, why shouldn't her life a little bit better? Why should she have to learn the Dewey Decimal System when she can pull, the information easy breezy instead of going in the library, pulling out the drawer, sorting through the cards, finding things that way. Like, let her pop on a computer and pull it up. Like, let's make life easier.
Yeah, with so much information. Sorry, my dog just walked in the room. With so much information at our fingertips, why on earth are we so obsessed with kids like not knowing how to do it the old-fashioned ways? Like, isn't that the fucking point of technological advancement? Is so that we don't have to go out and plow our own fields and sow our own beets so that we can then bring them home and boil them down into beet sugar so that we can then take our beet sugar to make fucking cookies? Fuck that, bitch. Pillsbury's got goddamn dough rolls at the store. That's the whole point of technological advancement.
So I took a college art class once, and it was, I can't remember the name of it, but it had to do with getting your art ready for printing. And one of the things that they taught us was the old-fashioned way of how to lay out the mock-up of your paper. And then there was this wax thing that you rolled your art through to paste it down onto something else. It was so old world. And this was like back in the late 80s, early 90s. And I'm like, it's all done by computers now. So I don't understand why you have to learn this. But the instructor said, and I truly believe this, to know where you're going, you need to know where you come from. So maybe a light overview of all the old stuff would be a good thing, or to go to a museum and see this wax paster or old mock-ups might be something. But
this is not a plug, by the way. We are not sponsored by these guys yet, but feel free, CuriosityStream, to sponsor us. I subscribed to CuriosityStream because I was like, all the assholes in this house watch documentaries on war stuff and science stuff like we all do. Best goddamn $2.99 a month I fucking spend. Because if I ever want to know the history of something, like, I wonder what the history is on this kind of thing. I just pull it up, and there's somebody else has spent their entire life dedicated to the history of this and made a wonderful 1.5 hour long documentary that I can sit down and pick my nose and eat my food to and learn the history of it and have a comprehensive knowledge of the history of it. I don't need to know how to boil beets to make sugar. I could watch a video on it. Like, I don't need to know how to do columns and figures on paper. I can do them on Excel. Like, that's the point. Ugh. I'm one of these old codgers. I'm one of these old Gen Xers now who's just sitting around going, What do you mean you don't want to use the new thing? What the fuck's wrong with you? What? Didn't that what we spent the 80s and 90s fucking doing is making the new things so we didn't have to use the old things? Buy the sliced bread, asshole. It's the best thing since Betty White. Like, you know.
Well, they have the ones too where, like, you want to trick a millennial, like, write something in cursive and have them drive a stick shift. Have you seen a stick shift? I mean, I can drive a stick shift. My kid doesn't need to know how to drive a stick shift.
First off, all those millennials... What are you going
to do, be the getaway driver? Come on.
Yeah, all those millennial memes need to be yeeted right the fuck out of the goddamn universe. You know why? Because millennials turn 40 next year. Or technically, most of them turn 40 this year. 2021, millennials start turning 40. So the whole thing about driving a stick shift or writing in cursive or how young they are and don't understand the world, bitch, they got mortgages. Get out of here with your bullshit millennial posts. It's Gen Z we need to worry about. They're the bitches out there eating fucking Tide Pods.
They're not all eating Tide Pods.
No,
they also don't need to know how to...
They also don't need to know how to drive a stick shift. My son is going to inherit my fucking electric vehicle that can self-drive. He don't need to know how to drive a stick shift.
I think a lot of it comes from a lot of people believing that we're going to be yeeted back into the Stone Age one of these days, where we have to learn how to make our own sugar from beets or learn how to drive that old
and then they'll Google it.
Museum Chevrolet.
Here's
Chevy stick shift.
Here's the wonderful thing about all that shit. There were also books written about it all. There are libraries full of this physical information. Also, I'm really laggy right now. That's kind of weird.
I think nostalgia is good to a point, but if you stay stuck in the past about how great it was and how you had it better back then, that's just bullshit.
So I watched, for the first time this weekend, I watched Mad Max Fury Road. Yes, I know all my Wastelander people out there. What do you mean this is the first time you watched? I'm like, the first time I watched it, I just didn't get around to it. I had so many other things to do. And I'm sitting back and I'm watching it. And I've seen all the other Mad Max movies and I love them and I'm totally into wasteland culture and all of that. But even in the wasteland, they weren't without technological advances. Even in post-apocalyptic shit that you read, 90% of them, they're like, oh yeah, we might lose some technology, but not all of it. And the point is not to get rid of it. Like almost every post-apocalyptic genre I read, oh, they're like, oh shit, we've lost this technology. Let's work on figuring out how to get it back again. And that's what I assume it would be like. There's a great book series. If you're interested, message us. I'll give you the name of the book series about how we literally watch the world fall into a post-apocalyptic wasteland and then grow from that post-apocalyptic to become a spacefaring race. And it's a great book series. I love it. It introduced me to a whole new author. If you're interested, message us. I'll send you the information. Don't message us asking for fucking getting married to you, by the way. I have had... So on my personal Facebook page, I changed over the holidays to an actual picture of myself that I thought was super cute. I loved it. It's me in the woods with snow. I was like, click, and I posted it. For the next 2 weeks, every day, 5 times a day, I was blocking people who decided that they wanted to friend request me, but we were not already friends, and they were sending me messages like, hi, fat girl, I love big girl. Like, and I was just like, block, 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 on my personal page. And I was like, ugh. So I changed it back to a drawing that my niece did. They won't want to try to, and I have had 0 of those friend requests since I changed my profile picture.
I'm just going to shout out Weird, and he could be watching now, or maybe later, because he seemed really into podcasts and really knowledgeable about podcasts. But I had a gentleman last night reach out to me on my show Instagram page with some feedback for but he was telling me like how I can better place my phone to get better streaming through Zoom. And like, it was really, I'm like, okay, like I appreciate the feedback. He was very nice. Love with the whole technology. And then he's like, and damn those thighs. And then I'm like, oh, haha, and well, thanks, I appreciate your time. And then like I'm going to try and pull one up.
And damn those thighs. Really, dude?
But he he went on about like, you're not supposed to trust people with big thighs. But like when they're thunderous or something like that, that means you're really not trustworthy. Your smile makes you look trustworthy. So, you know, it's very conflicting. And so I basically had to stop reading. That was not the direction I saw that going, and I don't often engage on my Toxie anything for that reason. Um, but you know, he was talking about podcasts. He seemed intrigued with the podcast and, you know, and our setup and all of that. So just very,
Can you imagine if we went around saying things like, man, your dick looks really small in those pants? Or
I would never
your ass
imagine
is so flat
doing that
to guys. You know,
I would never imagine doing that.
Yeah, no.
If we approach
Could you
guys
imagine
the same
if we
way
walked
that they
up to
approach women?
Yeah, imagine if we walked up to a guy and you'd be like, "Oh my God, you would be so hot if your dick were bigger." They'd get pissed off. If I'd be like, "You know what? I think you're cute even though you're fat." They'd get mad at that. They'd get super mad at that. I happen to know this for a fact because I told a fat guy one time. I was very drunk and very young. And I told him, "I'm sorry, I don't date fat guys. I don't fuck fat guys." And he was like, he hated me every day after that. But I didn't say you'd be handsome if you weren't fat. But I was very young.
Because enough people say to us, and they reach out and approach for something. And I know we've talked about this kind of ad nauseum in here. But I mean, it happens in regular life too, beyond just, you know, I think I'm reaching out to like a fictional kind of person that I don't know face to face. So I can tell this woman whatever via the internet because I have to face her. So constantly you get those rejections where if you're like, "Hey, I'm not interested," or whatever, immediately they jump into, "Well, I want to fuck you anyway. Like you're a fat fuck," and stuff like that. So.
Well, I had the final resort to the "I don't fuck fat guys" because I was trying to gently push him off and he just was very persistent. And I was just finally like in a very inebriated state at a club. I was like, "Listen, I don't fuck fat dudes, right?" And then he was mad. But I'd been saying no to him all goddamn night long. I did have to pull out the big guns at some point. In my defense. Still.
Do you have a lag? Like I'm getting a lag.
Yeah.
It's
laggy
on the screen, but okay.
Yeah,
all right. I didn't know if it was.
No, it's me.
Lagging through on there.
I think that my solution next week will eliminate some of that because part of it is my internet connection, but a lot of it is my processor trying to process my video coming in and pushing it out, but not just pushing it out once, pushing it out twice. And so my processor's like, "Oh, fuck no." So I think my next week will be a little bit better. We'll see. What was I talking about?
We were talking about your profile picture.
Oh, yeah.
And then we got onto how we should compliment guys from now on. And then how men react when we say no. And I know there's a couple things that we want to talk about. Yeah. What do you want to start with first? Can I just say that I love all the Bernie memes, every single Bernie meme ever produced by any Photoshopper ever. I love them.
They are chef's kiss. They are. And then there's the best.
You know the best part of all of this, the whole Bernie meme him, Bernie in the jacket and mittens. He put it on a sweatshirt, sold the sweatshirt for $45, and the proceeds go to Meals for Wheels in Vermont.
And they're completely sold out, by the way. They sold out in like 2 days or some stupid shit like that. Mm-hmm. You know what's even better is he went super old dude doesn't understand this shit with it too. Because that's kind of, if you just crop him out, it's kind of a dark picture. And then you just put it on a dark sweater. And I was like, that is the best old dude I don't understand memes meme thing ever. Like, he's like, "Oh, yeah, that'll be great. Everyone will want a dark blue shirt." And I was like, I would loved it in like a heather gray because then he would really stand out on that background. But you know what? Hands down to Bernie. He sure the fuck did it.
And And then I don't know her name offhand yet, but the new spokesman for the White House, the Jen, is that her name? Anyway, I love her. And then they just started doing ASL along with the daily broadcasts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
It's
love...
so weird watching her. So weird because I don't know. It's not like a bunch of lies.
The best thing I heard in the last, what's it been, 6 days? Like, it feels like not that long. But in the last 6 days, the best thing I heard was someone saying, it's so relieving to have a president who every time he speaks, I don't want to turn the TV off. And I was like, that probably sums up the entirety of how most of us feel.
Or you're not watching just to see if something unfolds.
Right. I am watching because it's relieving to see a president who can speak. Although I gotta say, hands down, best Freudian slip ever is when the Senate committee was talking about we're going to bring him in for his for inciting insurrection. I was like, nah, it was erection. He got all those bitches hard. That's what he did.
You knew it. It was intentional. He would be a soundbite. What was it, Chuck Schumer?
Yeah, I think it was Chuck Schumer.
Was it Chuck that did it? Yeah, he wanted to be a soundbite. He knew what he was saying.
Shit, well, he a soundbite now. My dog is mad because my purse is on the edge of the bed, which means he can't jump up on my bed, completely disregarding the fact that there are 3 other sides of the bed he has access to and can jump up onto. But he's sitting here.
So my other 2 favorite things are the 2 news stories that came out of the White House this week. One of them is that the pipeline has been stopped. And the second one is that transgender can now serve in our military.
Yay.
So talk for a moment, because I've read a few things on it, but I'm definitely not skilled enough to talk about it. I wanted to know the issues. The pipeline, just kind of a summary, if you know what you will. I know it was going over burial grounds, so that's one of the issues. And another issue was if it would leak into the soil. But why, can you guys share, like, why is this a thing? Why is this a huge deal?
So
go ahead.
The Keystone XL pipeline is literally moving sludge. It's not moving oil. It's moving oil byproduct that we sell to China to make plastic out of. Right now, that sludge product is moved safely and efficiently using trucks and trains. The Keystone Pipeline will put all those truck drivers and all those train engineers and all the hotel people who put them up, it'll take money away from them. And it'll put a lot of truck drivers out of a job. Now, the Keystone Pipeline runs over sacred Indian ground, through reservations, through burial grounds, through protected lands, and it also passes
without the Native Americans being compensated for it, by the way.
Right, they're not being compensated for it. It also runs over the United States of America's largest aquifer, which means if the Keystone Pipeline breaks anywhere over that aquifer, and it's a big fucking aquifer, so the fact that, and here's the thing, all oil pipelines leak, all of them. There is no way not to do it. And this particular sludge is caustic enough that they will be repairing leaks constantly on this pipeline. So if that oil makes it into that aquifer, it will now make water undrinkable. You think Flint was bad? Think of hundreds of thousands to 1 million or 2 people without drinkable groundwater. That's what you're talking about with that XL pipeline. So they're talking about, oh, you're putting 2,000 people out of a job. No, we're not. We're putting 35 people out of a job. Those 2,000 construction workers only have a job for as long as that pipe is being constructed. After that, it's tops 35 people working that pipeline.
And isn't there already another pipeline? It was just that this one was meant to be quicker or easier.
Yeah.
Like there's another that goes in a whole different direction or something.
Mm-hmm. This one is entirely unnecessary. It's never been necessary. It is literally only there to make money for the oil companies faster. Not make more money, they're not going to make any more money on the sale. Well, except that they won't have to pay for the truck drivers and the trains. It'll just go directly onto oil tankers at the coast. So they will make a little money because they'll be spending less money on American jobs.
So if our focus is on the U.S., and that's been a huge, like, U.S. first these past 4 years, why would we do all of this to provide a product to China?
Because it makes oil companies more money. And oil companies right now run the fucking world. No matter what we might think about, oh, we want to keep American jobs and we don't want to export our shit to China and blah, blah, blah. That don't make the oil companies money. America's not making plastics. America is not making plastics. They're not taking the raw materials and turning them into plastics because it's cheaper. Mm-hmm. It is literally cheaper to ship all of our raw materials to China, make it there, and then ship the final product back. And why is it cheaper? Well, it's cheaper because China uses underpaid, underage slave labor to do all of this. And they don't have the right, like, they don't have workers' rights. They don't have human rights over there. Like, they can work a 16-year-old 18 hours a day to make your plastic cover for your iPhone. But we don't want to pay American workers a living wage so that they can do this because it might make our iPhone cover, instead of being $30, it might be $45, and we can't do that. What it boils down to is if the oil company had to make all that stuff here in America, they would lose money. And so they don't, and they will never. And I don't care how hard any politician tries to bring all that manufacturing back to the U.S., the companies that pay for that manufacturing will not do it. They will not make money doing it. They will lose money. They won't not make a profit. They'll still make profits. They'll just lose maybe $1 billion in profit every year. They're still going to make $85 billion. They just don't want to lose that $1 billion. Because God forbid we only make 85 instead of $86 billion on this toxic sludge that we're pumping out of Canada across the United States and into China's oil tankers. FYI, it doesn't even come out of the U.S. It comes out of fucking Canada. It's not even U.S. oil sludge we're pumping. None of the money that's being made on the XL pipeline will actually ever go back into the fucking United States. It's the companies that own the oil in Canada that pump it through the U.S. that take it to China and sell it and turn it into Chinese products that then get sold back to the U.S. The U.S. makes practically nothing on the pipeline. All the legislators, however, make a shit ton of money in the money that they're sent to try to keep the pipeline going. That's where the money's being made in the U.S. Oil companies.
So that's done.
Yeah. Well,
that's over.
It's not. That's the thing. It's been paused. And those legislators are going to try to, as hard as they can, to get it back rolling again because, I don't think I could give up my $1 million in funds that the oil companies are sending me every year.
Yeah, they might have to remove the Texaco racing patch from their, jackets.
Yeah, their BP patch is going to have to go away. I'm like, oh no, I can't put BP on my decals anymore. Fuckers. Sorry. The pipeline has been a sore spot for me since the whole thing got fucking started. It's so stupid. Oh, they won't move it around Indian lines, but they did move a portion of it because it was going to cut through some rich lady's backyard. Like some rich people were like, we don't want the pipeline running through our neighborhood. So they moved it so the rich white people didn't have to live with the pipeline possibly breaking in their neighborhood.
Right.
Put it over there with the brown ones. They won't care. Fuckers.
So did you guys watch the inauguration?
Yes.
I wept through the entire thing. I cried. I turned it on, and I turned it on 2 minutes before Lady Gaga got up there and started singing the fucking national anthem. And I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. They're like, and now Lady Gaga to sing the national anthem. I was like, oh, that's going to be beautiful. She starts singing. My son is sitting in my office with me. He comes around the little wall. He's like, are you okay? And I'm like, you got to stand here and watch this. It's fucking history. the whole time.
I like J-Lo's rendition of America the Beautiful with that little tiny piece from the national anthem. I loved it.
And her speaking Spanish and singing Spanish in it. Fuck yeah. Did you see some people in the background going, fuck yeah, fuck yeah. Pence over there.
Did you enjoy it, Toxie?
I did. I liked all of it. I mean, I loved the outfits, even though they were mainly jackets. I just loved that whole aspect of it. And everyone looked amazing. And of course, I mean, I cried just the same. It was a very emotional day for me.
It was great.
But I quite enjoyed it.
The young girl with the poem. Oh my God, that was such a great poem.
Amanda Gorman.
Mm-hmm.
The nation's first youth poet laureate. She's written books.
I love there was so much. I love when, Biden's family came out. And, I follow, this one woman on TikTok who is Kamala's niece. And she's amazing, but her two little get so excited. They're like, I'm going to see Ian, and Joe Biden. And she did little videos of them in the White House after. And it's very sweet. It's very endearing. I also loved, maybe not musically, I'm not super into country, but I loved that Garth Brooks sang.
I was just going to ask who the country singer was, because with everything that's been going on in the country, it just seems so out of place to have a country singer there.
I believe he's a Republican, first off. I believe he's actually a Republican. He came there to this event where everyone except for Bernie was dressed up, and dude wore his cowboy boots, cowboy hat, and jeans to go and perform. But kudos to him, because it was a really big thing. I mean, afterward I saw, a bunch of videos of people throwing their CDs, and pretty sure Garth Brooks, who's married to Trisha Yearwood, who's another powerhouse, that they're worth a gazillion dollars. I'm pretty sure they don't care that their CDs from 1997 were thrown, but I thought it was a good unity. I mean, I thought it was a good choice. Well,
and so here's the thing, I know it would seem weird that country music would not be a thing played at the Democratic inauguration. But there are actually a lot of country singers who are Democrats.
I understand that was my very first reaction when I heard him announced and he started singing, and then I had to remember I like the Dixie
But he's
Chicks,
not, though.
Those motherfuckers are liberal as fuck.
And they're not the Dixie Chicks anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. The Chicks.
The Chicks.
Right.
So, I mean, I caught myself.
Right. Actually, it was a lot more of those country singers who ended up changing their name. So.
Yeah. I loved it. I cried through the whole thing. I made my kid watch it. I was like, listen, I know you're going to be 5 minutes late for school, but you need to watch this. You need to watch history. You need to watch Kamala Harris get fucking inducted in as the vice president. You need to watch the inauguration of President Joe Biden. You need to watch all these fucking bomb-ass people talk about returning our country to being great again. Actually making America great again. And so he stood there.
I look forward to the next 4 years to see what happens. So one of the things at the inauguration that someone posted about in the Gen X group that we're all in is, I think the meme was, make sure you're with somebody who looks at you like George Bush looks at Michelle Obama.
And love them.
And then there's these three pictures of George W. Bush and Michelle Obama, and they're holding hands, or they're hugging and kissing, or they're just hanging out, and they look like the best of friends, right? But then some of the commentary underneath was, how can you find it cute that Michelle Obama is hooked up with a mass murderer? And it just blew the whole thread out of proportion. I mean, don't get me wrong, George W. Bush was a fucked up president, but come on now.
Yeah. It's like, come on, man. Take the meme for what it is. Just enjoy. It is pure, their friendship. And, you know, look, there was a shit ton of people on my post that I posted today who were like, I can be friends with people that I disagree with politically. And I'm like, well, first off, Black Lives Matter is not a political issue, sort of a societal one. Second off, neither are gay rights, not a political issue. Neither are reproductive rights, again, not a political issue. But, you know, none of the thing that I posted was a political issue, except I think the hashtag liberal. I think that might have been the only political issue. I actually commented on that. Oh no, we lost Toxie again. She'll be back soon.
Yes. Why don't you talk about that a little bit? Your post about how are there still right-wing people on my timeline? Because it's true. I didn't realize I still had some on mine.
Yeah.
After your post.
So the day of the inauguration, suddenly my timeline is flooded with all of these, America's going to die now. This is the most terrible thing to happen to our country. And I was like, are these like people who are? Because first off, they're not people I interact with on a regular basis. So I didn't realize I was friends with them. And now suddenly, why Facebook are you showing me their posts about how America is falling into, like, it's, you know, falling into disrepair now? I was like, suddenly now you want to show me all these Trump supporters on my page that I didn't know were there before. I really only thought it was like 3 or 4, right? So I posted on my private page, apparently there are still some Trump supporters here. That's cool and all, like, whatever. But how the fuck did you guys remain friends with me for the last 4 years? And then I put all of my hashtags. Black Lives Matter, LGBTQ rights, trans people are people, pride, you know, like all of my liberal hippie hashtags. And a surprising number of people commented bullshit like, because we can have different political views and still stay friends. Or I can respect your opinion and disagree with it. And I was like, Black Lives Matter is not an opinion. I am so proud of all my people not turning that post into like a rager, because I have a lot of very aggressive liberals on my page. And I love watching them rage on other people, but I don't like it on my page just because I don't want to have to get involved. And I always do end up getting involved. And then someone calls me a racist and I'm like, okay, I can't be racist against you, Whitey. Sorry. But I'm super surprised that there weren't more raging Black Lives Matter is not an opinion, human rights is not an opinion, because it is. It truly is not an opinion. Black Lives Matter is not an opinion. That's like saying your broken arm is just an opinion. Not. It's a fact. Needs fixing.
You know, I think the thing, and I know that we've talked about this before, but the one thing that surprised me is when certain people come out as
Republican.
I don't want to say racist outright, but fucking racist or against LGBTQ or against transgenders. And you never would have imagined that. And it kind of just breaks your heart when someone that you've liked for so long, that was a friend or whatever, turns out to be one of those kind of people.
Someone you respected when they're like, oh, the people who stormed the Capitol were American heroes. And I'm like, no, they weren't. They were domestic terrorists. They did worse than what the Black Lives Matter protesters were doing. And they got less beatings. It blows my mind. Speaking of blowing my mind, I'm kind of dominating the conversation tonight. But I posted
That's okay. You've got a couple of topics that are
poignant.
Yeah.
So I posted this post today. I talked a little bit last week about how I don't make New Year's resolutions, but I kind of set goals for myself. And one of them this year is to be better about my health. I've kind of let that slide during 2020 because we all let fucking everything slide during 2020. I haven't seen a doctor in over a year. And I need to. My back is hurting. My body is hurting. There's a lot of things I need attended to. So I set a goal for myself to be more proactive in my health. And that means going to the doctor. Well, my last primary care physician quit a year ago, basically around the time I stopped coming because I no longer wanted to see the doctors my group was telling me, oh, go see them. They're fine. And I went once and they were not, and I didn't go back. I'm overweight. That's not a thing. Like, I'm just fat. It's a descriptive term. I also happen to have a couple of chronic diseases that need management that I've not been managing, one of which is diabetes. And I know that there is a lot of research that links over obesity to diabetes and all that other stuff. And that's fine. I'm certain a lot of people fall into that category and they need to manage their weight and all that good stuff. I don't. My diabetes is genetic, so it wouldn't have mattered. It would not have mattered if I was 110 pounds or 210 pounds. I was going to get it. And it also wouldn't have mattered because my gallbladder decided to just, throw a party and leave. And it took some of my liver and a bit of my pancreas with it. So I have physical damage to my pancreas, which aggravated the genetic predisposition to diabetes and gave me the diabetes, right? And it gave me this sort of rare form of diabetes where I have no symptoms. I just die from diabetes. And no one knew I had diabetes because no one thought to test me for it. Until my dad almost died from it because no one thought he had diabetes. It's a whole genetic component here. My dad ends up in the hospital. I tell my doctor at the time, they test me. Oh shit, you have type 2 diabetes.
And there was something else that you said that proved the fact that your weight does not lend to your diabetes.
Since I've been diagnosed, I've lost almost 60 pounds. And my diabetes has gotten worse, not better. Like, my blood sugars are more uncontrolled after the weight loss than they were before. And I wasn't on medication. At the very beginning, I managed it all with diet, the exact same diet I'm doing now. And it was fine then. And then I started losing weight, and now it's back to being needs more management, needs more care. So all I was asking for in this post was a primary care provider who isn't going to assume all my problems are because I'm fat and who will help me manage my diabetes without pushing the whole weight thing. I also need one who isn't going to contribute every ache and pain I have to my diabetes. And in this original post, I said, not that it matters, but to quell some of you, I have lost nearly 60 pounds since my diagnosis, and it has made zero difference. 99% of every post was great. Here's this doctor, I go to this doctor, I go to this doctor, all from my bigger female friends, by the way. These are the people I go to, check them out.
I saved that post, by the way, so I can go do some research so I can find a doctor.
So the other thing I have to deal with is that I have insurance through my employer, which means I have to take whatever policy they decide we're having every year. And they changed our policy at the beginning of this year. It sounded great on paper because all my payments and stuff went down. But when I called today to make an appointment with one of the doctors on this list, because I also went and did an incredible amount of research on every one of these doctors. And some of them have really terrible reviews on Health Grades. And I'll go see a doctor who has 0 reviews on Health Grades because that means they didn't do anything terrible enough for people to go review them. But somebody who has a 2-star review after 81 reviews, I'm not going to call them sorry. I get that you think they're a great doctor, but most people don't. I'm not even going to put them on my list. So anyway, lots of research. So the first one that I called, they're like, yes, accepting new patients. Yes, accepting that particular insurance. Oh, wait. No, it looks like your particular plan is not accepted. And I was like, but your medical group is in network. Your doctor's listed here as in network. You're actually preferred partners. And they're like, yeah, sorry, we take that insurance, but not this plan. And I was like, okay. So they're like, you need to call your insurance company and have them send over the information so that we can take that insurance. So I called the insurance company. And the insurance company says, oh no, we cover them. And I'm like, I get that you cover them, but they're saying they don't accept this particular plan I'm on. And they're like, oh, well, we'll call them. We'll straighten it up. So the insurance company puts me on hold, calls the medical group, gets me back off hold like 20 minutes later. Like, I don't know what to tell you, but they don't accept your plan. They're in our network and we cover them, but they don't accept your plan. And I was like, well, I better cancel that doctor's appointment. And I then start calling 3 more doctors. Oh yeah, we take that insurance. Oh no, not that plan. I was like, oh, well, this is not boding well for this new insurance plan I have. I finally found a doctor. It was actually one of the I made an appointment with them. So here's the thing. So this ties into the whole like fat phobia with doctors and attributing health to weight and all that other shit. One person who works in the medical field commented, I deleted the comment. If you see this and you're mad, I deleted your comment because I didn't ask for your fucking opinion. I get that you work in the medical field, but I also know which fucking medical field you work in, and you don't got a fucking leg to stand on to be trying to talk to me. Also, you used to be a fat bitch, so fuck off. Secondly, my diabetes is not related to my weight, and you did not know that, and yet you assumed that it was. You don't have the right to make assumptions about a person's health care because of the way they fucking look. You don't have that right. You're not my doctor. You don't have my lab work. You don't know my fucking medical history. You haven't seen the pictures of my diseased gallbladder that was this. Your gallbladder's this big. Mine, this big, when they took it the fuck out of me, covered in sores and lesions, and where they had to cut part of my pancreas and liver off because it had decided to expand in there and just grabbed onto everything. It was like, nah, bitch, I'm here to stay. You're going to die from this gallbladder, motherfucker. Okay, sorry. It's a little bit of a rant I went on there. I deleted the comment because it's not what I asked for. And the whole thing about any doctor who doesn't bring up your weight in regards to your diabetes is a bad doctor. No, because my weight has nothing to do with my diabetes and vice versa. So I deleted it.
Oh, I missed that comment.
No, because I deleted it.
She deleted it.
Because I deleted the fucking comment. Uncalled for. I'm not even responding to you. You don't get the comment. Click not part of this conversation. That's like that fucking bitch that walked into a Black Lives Matter conversation we were having. It was like, abortion is murder. And I was like, bitch, you missing the goddamn point. That's not what this conversation is even fucking about. And then somebody called me a racist because I commented on that. I was like, bitch, get out of here. Anyway.
When she was telling me the story, my first reaction is, but that girl used to be fat.
That girl used to be way big.
Yeah. And she, I think she got what's the thing? The surgery, on her,
the sleeve.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's one of those fat people who hates fat people because she hated herself when she was fat.
One of them.
Yeah. Dear fat people who get unfat, please stop being bitches. Stop it. Stop being assholes to other fat people. You don't know their struggle. You don't know their health. You don't know what's going on. You don't even know if they can afford the fucking surgery if they wanted to get it. So stop hating on other fat people just because you hated yourself when you were fat. Stop it. Also,
and don't
it leads
assume.
into the whole... Yeah, this also leads into that whole Medicare for all thing. Let's go back into some liberal politics here. Because if I had Medicare for all doctors would be able to take me. I could go see whatever fucking doctor I wanted to. And then somebody will pipe up and say, oh, but you'll have to wait to see them. Okay. Here's a story for you that happened today. I finally found a doctor who accepted my private insurance plan. Right? I called them. Yes, we're taking new patients. Great. I have a chronic disorder that I need help managing. I need to re-up my medications. I need new blood work. I need all of that. They're like, okay. And I'm like, when's the first available appointment? She's like, for new patients? March 22nd. I still have to wait 2 months to see a doctor, even though I have private insurance. So all of you people who are like, oh, it'll take you 2 months to get in to see a doctor if we all have Medicare for all. Bitch, it already does.
Yes,
it already does. When I had to go see a bunch of specialists, I'm waiting a month. I'm waiting a month and a half to go see a specialist on my knee or my back or whatever the hell fucking else it is, because the HMO private plan I have requires me to get a referral first from 2 doctors before I can go see the specialist doctor. And then the specialist doctor isn't taking new patients for the next 2 months. So I've got to wait to get in anyway. It wouldn't matter. You know what? I would rather it come out of my taxes and then I can take this plan and I can go see any goddamn doctor I want whenever I want to. I don't have to rely on the insurance company deciding whether or not I can see that doctor. I don't have to deal with the fact that, oh yeah, we cover that doctor, but the doctor doesn't accept your particular plan. It's so much bullshit.
This is in no way related to medical whatsoever, but I've been wondering it this whole time. We had a comment a while ago from Leanne that says Willie Nelson. I'm not sure if Willie Nelson, I'm assuming he's, I know who he is. She's singer. I'm assuming she means he's liberal. Yeah. But at the top of her thing, it says Stars Holiday Celebration. Like she has a special little thing, like ribbon on top of her comment, on top of her name.
I don't know that it's a Facebook badge.
What is that?
Stars Holiday Celebration. This badge is awarded to those who sent stars during the Stars Holiday Celebration. I don't even know what the fuck that means. Apparently Leanne is better at social media than I am.
But like, I won a little badge. I once, and I've since lost that badge, but I was once a top fan for like Fox News here in Las Vegas. And it was the greatest moment of my life.
So Fox News here in Vegas is actually pretty liberal. The local Fox News
very
station
liberal.
is very liberal.
No. And people like are so tricked by it because they're like,
gotta love the internet, man. Weren't we just talking about how technology makes everything better?
It was amazing. When I went to the list.
This is one of those when someone's talking in another language you don't understand, so you just smile and nod.
I want to know how she got that. So
I don't know, but it had something to do with something she participated in on Facebook somewhere. By the way, Toxie, if you can hear me, you froze up and you sounded like well, you can't hear me because you're not here anymore. God, I love technology.
So have you, speaking of top fan badges, have you accepted being top fans for whatever pages that you go onto often? Because there's been 3 that I've been offered and I haven't decided to take them. Or claim them.
I haven't been offered any because apparently I'm not active enough in other groups. Like I am absolutely a lurker. I go into most groups to just read through the posts. I'll like a couple. Occasionally I'll put a little comment in there. Well, you have to come up often enough for the moderators and the admins to notice you.
It's not for groups, it's for pages. So like one of my favorite pages is IFL Science, which means I fucking love science. And I've been offered a top fan badge for that page, but I haven't taken it. Another one is History for the Witty, I think it is. And I haven't accepted that one because I don't know. I just don't want to be featured. You know?
Well, so what it is you share.
I enjoy being featured.
You share a lot of those posts directly from their pages. And that's how that comes up. We actually have that option on Sin City Bounty to add badges to people as top fans. And they're recommended to us based on interaction with our page.
Right. So
people who interact more, you get recommended to the mods and admins of a page to give them a top fan badge. And I think we've given them out to a couple of people. But I don't interact with enough pages. Like, I don't share enough stuff. Most of the time, it's just post. It's the occasional meme I saved to my phone. I don't share a lot of page stuff. So I don't get that top fan. I think the Oatmeal and Strange Planet, I think I have a top fan badge for them because I do share a lot of their shit.
I don't share any stuff. I have my hobbies include commenting on news pages. When people say something posts. Stupid, I like to comment facts.
Yeah, liking posts lends to that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that probably doesn't do. But mine is I engage with people. I'm trying. That's really my only hobby, actually. That and eating cheese. Like that's where I'm at this point in life. But I'm trying to curb both of those a little. So I'm gonna start.
Toxie, you and I share a hobby together, and that is TikTok.
We do. We do.
And TikTok's app has been having
TikTok.
TikTok's app has been having some issues where it's not loading or playing a lot of videos properly, and so I'm like panicking, messaging her, "Oh my God, is TikTok not working for you either?" And she's like, "No, it isn't working for me either." And then we share a couple of TikTok videos with each other. I had to show my girlfriend. We have entire conversations where it's just TikTok link. For like 2 days straight, it's just one, no, not even words, just a link, just back and forth, you know. And occasionally we'd be like, a link, dads, a link, you know, like it. We evolved from talking shit to just sending each other TikTok links.
Yeah, no, it's just we speak in TikTok, and they're amazing. Like, I love TikTok. It is for me. It's mindless. Like I have a lot of stresses in life right now. a lot of big things going on. Work is stressful. So I'll even do it like if I'm super stressed what I'm doing, I will just click on the app and I'll do a little scroll. Or if I'm on the toilet, like let's just do a little. I used to play Candy Crush, but now and text Sierra. But now I'll do little TikToks. Or then there's my one at night where 7 hours later I'm like, oh, I probably
It's 2
should have been
a.m.
asleep 6.5 hours ago. Yeah.
TikTok has just stopped showing me those. It's getting pretty late. You should probably turn off. I know a lot of scrolling is fun. Like they usually, like if you've been scrolling for more than an hour,
Yes,
they start
they
showing
will.
you those. They stop showing them to me.
Wait. Are you telling me that TikTok now has the "Are you still watching" thing from Netflix?
Yes.
No, it's not. Are you still watching? It's you've been watching
video.
for an
Yeah,
hour
it's a
straight.
video.
You should probably set it down. Like they're telling you to stop watching. And it gets to a point, like, if you scroll past, like, 3 of those in a row, they just stop showing them to you.
That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
It's great. The first time it came up...
bypass right past that. And I'm like...
the first time it came up, I was like, how does TikTok... Damn, TikTok. I'm just going to keep scrolling. You can't shame me into turning this TikTok off.
The one night I was scrolling and I'm like, I am not shutting this off. I'm late in Coke Talk tonight. I am going to stay watching these videos about drugs.
One of these days it's going to get so personalized. It's like, you've been watching for an hour. Do you know it's snowing outside, right? Las Vegas, it snowed. People in Las Vegas, it snowed.
Only on the edges. By the way, it only snows on the edges of Vegas. If you were on the Strip, you did not see any snow. If you lived on the edges of the city and Henderson, you got to see snow. Everyone else posting these beautiful ass snow pictures. I've been in the goddamn rain for 2 days, although I love it. I love this weather. I don't have to squint when I go outside. I have blue eyes.
Was it the first good rain since 246 days or some shit like that?
Yeah. We've had like an inch or two in the last couple of months, but 240 something days without major rain. And yeah, so we're just soaking it up. We're those weirdos. My grandma, this is a story from this holiday season when I wasn't here. My grandma moved from Arkansas to Arizona. And when she first started working there, she worked at the Marine base as an administrator. It's a secretary. And she would think that everybody there was absolutely crazy because every time it rained, everyone stopped working. They just went outside and played in the rain. And she was like, she just moved from Arkansas where it rains like every 3.5 hours, right? So she was like, these people are crazy. She's like, 2 years later, I was leaving my desk and going outside to play in the rain with the rest of those crazies. And she was like, and now that I'm back in Arkansas again, I appreciate the rain more. I was like... It's true, though. Same thing in Vegas. Every time it rains, everyone opens the windows and goes outside and goes, oh my God, it's raining. It's beautiful. Everybody. We appreciate the rain here. Meanwhile.
Yeah, we at 2 a.m. last night, my daughter wanted me to come out with her while she played in the snow. She then proceeded to come back in and make herself hot chocolate. But yeah, she initially went out in like shorts, like jammy shorts that you wear to bed. And she was out like that in just a sweatshirt and I'm like, no, you gotta put some shit on there. We can't lose a limb right now. So
she is in for a world of hurt where she plans on going to college.
So the only plus to all of this is that she's very warm-blooded and she is the one out on the soccer field when it does get cold here and the others are like freezing and on the sideline covered in blankets and all of that. Like she's the one who's like, guys, why? It's perfectly fine out. Like it's nice. So she has a little bit of that, but yeah, no, she's going for a very drastic environment. So we'll see how that goes.
Can we talk about how your daughter explained to your mother how she plans on decorating her dorm room? Can you still hear me?
Oh my God. I sent you a screenshot. I can hear you. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can now. So she was
Can
like,
you hear
it's
me?
gonna, yeah.
Okay. So my mom was all, let's see here, because I want to find the exact words. My mom once my daughter, she committed this past week to a school and to play soccer for a school. And immediately, like, my mom was on it and she's like, right, everybody's having their white sale right now. And then, of course, my daughter was like, that's racist. And then she's like, no, the linens and stuff are on sale because, my mom's like back from the day where they had white sales, and that's when you buy your sheets and your towels, and nobody is having a linen sale right now, by the way, but
Bed
in
Bath
her
and
head
Beyond
it's
is.
that time of year.
Bed Bath and Beyond
Are they?
is.
So then maybe she's not as crazy as I was making her out to be, but so she's all worried. She's like, all right, well, I need to know your theme. Like, what is the theme of your dorm room? And my daughter's like, it's butts and boobs.
So just so you know, I told her I was going to make her a giant titty pillow for her room. Here's the nipple color.
That is awesome.
I'm crocheting her a giant titty pillow that she can take to college. And then when she's in her room and everybody's going to be like, why do you have a giant titty pillow? And she'd be like, my mom's friend is crazy. It's comfortable.
My theme is butts.
Butts and boobs.
Butts and boobs. So, yeah. So apparently that'll be great.
Oh. I just followed this guy on TikTok. I don't remember what his TikTok is, but he's the artist behind Butts on Everything.
Yeah. Did you see the butt on Bernie?
I saw the butt on Bernie. That was great. By the way, he just released a bunch of prints in his Etsy shop, so I'm probably going to get her a butt print. So she could have a framed ass and a giant tit pillow in her room. Everyone's going to think she's a lesbian, right?
Yeah, they will.
She's going to have to come out
really quick. She'll have to make... I have an announcement, everybody. Do not be off by the butts and boobs. So just on this out there really quick, just kind of speaking along those lines, but do you guys know who JoJo Siwa is?
Yes, I heard about that.
So JoJo Siwa, no titles though. She explained she doesn't want to be categorized. At this time, she came out as part of the LGBTQ community, and it was kind of amazing. And I'm telling you guys right now, if you have not read any of this, followed any of her posts or videos, she started with a video. She did a video on TikTok where she sang along to Lady Gaga's song Born This Way. Mm-hmm. And then on Twitter, she posted a t-shirt where it said Best Gay Cousin. And people were still a little confused. Like, they were going, what if she's just wearing the shirt? What if she's just jamming to the song? So she, kind of made an official coming out video. Mm-hmm. And you guys, if you see the support on her TikTok and on her Instagram and from, just famous people from like names that you would recognize, but everybody has been nothing but supportive. And this girl who is 17 essentially put, her career is focused on children. And she essentially put, it's sad that anybody has to put their career on the line for just being themselves. But she took that chance, and she has been so well embraced. It's been amazing. But she already had, she just had one where, someone commented on one of her posts and they're like, that's it, my daughter will never watch you again. And she's like, okay.
Okay. She'll come back.
She's like, right? Like, what else are you going to do?
I saw that. JoJo Siwa came out as gay. Lots of celebrity support. Mm-hmm. Some people lose their fucking mind. And I was like, well, that tracks. Like, that's about how it's going to be.
Right, that's how it goes. But
I think it's great. I think JoJo Siwa, who has been this instrumental part of goodness and kindness and pushing this thoughtful message to young kids through her YouTube channel, just this whole movement of hers that she's created for this kindness and being cool and fun and being open and honest with yourself. And then she comes out and everyone accepts her, except for the assholes who don't. But she's just continuing this message that she's been doing. She's been doing this for how long?
Yes.
I feel like JoJo Siwa
she was little.
Like
she was little.
Years.
She was tiny. She started on a show right before Dance Moms, and then she was brought on Dance Moms. But she's the same age as my daughter, because we watched this girl like since she was tiny. My daughter used to love, all the girls on the dance show and stuff like that. But we followed her career, and like she's just doing wonderful things. But she's such a bright, positive individual who's like all about love and just not judging people.
I mentioned JoJo Siwa to someone and they were like, and I was like, what do you mean like, I don't watch JoJo Siwa, it's not like my thing, but for young girls and boys or people who want a positive light message, like she's perfect. Like if someone would be like, what YouTuber would you tell me to let my little kids watch? I'd be like, JoJo Siwa, a couple of others, but definitely JoJo Siwa. Like she's like she's list.
Very right. She's non-problematic, which you see in a lot of these people who are. I mean, she is YouTube famous. She has like 30 million TikTok followers, which is huge. She has like 10 million Instagram followers. Like she has a really huge social media presence. She has her YouTube. She has merchandising. She has her concerts are sold out. No matter where, it's full of little girls and boys like screaming.
You've made it when you've got products simultaneously at Walmart, Target, and Dollar Tree. You've made it. She's got shit everywhere. I see JoJo Siwa stuff fucking everywhere. That's how you've made it.
It still surprises me that right now in 2021, there are people who freak out when someone comes out, right? And I've been watching Stargate, the Stargate series, and SG-1 is on Netflix, and Stargate Atlantis is on Amazon, and I've had to watch Stargate Universe, which I've never seen before. I have to do it on Hulu. And I don't pay for the expensive non-commercial stuff. So I get the commercials on Hulu. And lately I've been seeing a lot of regular TV commercials because that's what they play. One of the things that I love is the representation of same-sex couples and mixed couples. And I think that's representation so matters. And if it becomes part of the everyday, maybe there won't be people freaking out when somebody comes out. I pray for the day that someone can announce that they're gay, or that or that they don't even have to announce it because no one fucking cares.
I would, yeah, I long for that day, but we still haven't even made it to the day where we can have a primetime television show on a regular primetime network with a black lead without somebody going, with them pushing their whole equality bullshit down my throat. And it's like, no, the story is about a black guy and it's a fun story. Let's watch it. It's not anyone pushing their fucking agenda down your throat. Just like, what's the one about the two gay dudes who live together and the female friend, and she's an interior designer, and it's got Karen who drinks wine all the time, and it's like me. I
can't remember. I need to show you.
Will and Grace, that's it. So it's like Will and Grace. Everyone's like, they're pushing their gay agenda. No, bitch, this is how gay people. Well, it's not how gay people are, but it's just a story about people. Two of them happen to be gay. That's just what it is. Like
I'm only half Asian, and I'm probably more American than I am Asian. But I don't know how to describe the thrill it is when I see an Asian person in some kind of leading role on any television show or series or movie. It thrills me to no end for Lucy Liu or any of those actors Asian actors to appear. Whether they're a good guy or a bad guy, it doesn't matter to me, as long as they're not being misrepresented, of course. But it thrills me when I see an Asian. And I can only imagine what it's like for a Black person or a Native American person or a Hispanic or any other ethnic race.
And to have them on there and not have them be the stereotype, like the token Black guy, the token Asian guy, the token gay guy, where they're just like part of the cast. It's like, this is a guy part of the cast. This is a girl part of the cast. This is a person part of the cast. Like,
when my mom found out that Tiger Woods was part Thai, oh my God, she adopted him like her son.
Yeah, representation is really important. And I mean, definitely there are a lot of things that are becoming more where it's not, you know, when something happens, people stop jumping and going like, oh, it's an agenda and, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, starting to get to a better place. But sometimes you want to be like, hurry the fuck up.
So what if it is an agenda? So what if it is the network going, okay, we really do need to have more representation. Let's greenlight this show about Asian people over this show about white people. Because this is like just a regurgitation of Friends or Seinfeld. But this one is new and exciting. And even if it's a regurgitation of Friends or Seinfeld, but with an Asian bend, fuck it, we haven't done this before. Like, what the fuck? Who cares if it is an agenda? That representation is important to a vast majority of the... Listen, white people, I hate to tell you this, but we are not a majority anymore. We stopped being a majority when I was a fucking teenager. If you put us against non-white people, we are far outstripped in population numbers. There are more Asians, more brown people, more Black people, more people of Native heritage than there are white people in America. We are the minority. People of color are the majority. And our media does not represent that. It does not in any way represent that. Do you really think there is a more than 0.5% representation of people of color in our popular media? There is not. I hate to tell you this. We watched that beautiful movie on Netflix, that Christmas movie, Jingle Jangle. I watched that with my Black boyfriend who started crying in the middle of it. I was like, I know, it's a beautiful movie. He's like, no, it's not that. He's like, when I grew up, I had The Wiz. That was it. That was what I had. And now, these kids who are younger than me, these kids growing up now, they have this beautiful fucking movie. Jingle Jangle was fucking beautiful. And it wasn't about Black people being Black. It was just Black people in it. And it was this gorgeous representation of their culture and their community without it being like stereotyped, you know? And it was shocking that I wasn't woke enough to realize that at the time. And it made me fucking cry. And I was like, oh my God, there's all these little Black kids. They got like 2 movies. That's it. You know? And I go back and I'm thinking about it, about popular media movies that have Black main leads. You can consider Black Panther that, but is it really? Because it's about bringing him into the fold of the larger community of superheroes who are all mostly white. It's just like, hey, here's a movie about our token Black dude. But even then, I mean, it's still a great movie and it's still wonderful to have that representation. It's just, we need more of it. We are starving for that representation in our popular media. And things like Soul and Jingle Jangle and Black Panther and all those other movies that are coming out now that are fucking gorgeous. I love it. But every time I see someone commenting or posting with that bullshit about, it's an agenda. Yes, you're right. It is. And I'm here for this agenda. Fuck. Racist bastards. Fucking white people.
Fucking white people.
I just have one more thing to touch on, and I realize we are way running over.
We are.
That's because we've been gone for a month and a half.
You guys know Tony Hsieh. He was the CEO of Zappos, the gentleman who like helped revitalize downtown with this whole The Life is Beautiful project. And he just had like this amazing vision and this whole thing involving like synergy and just people creating and setting up environment in which people could be more creative and in which people could engage in more ideas. So I'm sure you're all, very familiar. And then, of course, I'm sure he passed away in a house fire back in November.
Mm-hmm.
But did you guys see today they gave the details of it?
No.
Like the details of what happened?
Spill this tea, honey.
So he was in, I want to say it's Connecticut, and he was at somebody who also worked at Zappos, but there's conflicting stories whether it's a girlfriend or just a friend. He had already, he was very eccentric in many ways, but there were a lot of concerns that he had gotten involved in drugs. He had a house up in Utah. He had Jewel come out and perform. He was close friends with Jewel for many years. Jewel left early, mailed him a letter because he cut himself off from any form of social media, communication, electronic, anything. Wrote him a letter regarding concerns about him and his friends enabling him, and just a lot of just very sad situation. So he's in this home, his girlfriend's big, beautiful home. They get in a fight and he goes and locks himself in the shed. And I would definitely, guys, I would Google it because I read a little bit, the timeline's very elliptical. It's just such a crazy, crazy story about this man who did amazing things and really made such a huge difference and a huge change in so many people's lives and for Las Vegas, in general. And this man set a fire in a shed and ultimately died because of it.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say
44,
it was probably,
I think.
Yeah,
no will.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say he was probably doing meth. That sounds like meth to me. Like that kind of attitude, the way.
No,
yeah, but meth
I don't know if it
doesn't
was
make you a
meth
recluse.
because they found and his friends kept checking on him every 10 minutes. They were marking on the door with Post-its when they went out and checked on him in the shed. But he had gotten into this thing where he kept starting fires because they saw he lit a baggie in there. There was a propane tank in there, but then he also at one point had whippets. He had nitrous oxide or something. He had whippets out there. At one point they heard a clunk or something, and then it was at 3:30. Check. He said, "Come back in 5 minutes." And 4 minutes later, the fire started. They were trying to get in to come out, and I mean, maybe we'll find it was meth or something. The toxicology report hasn't come back yet, but it's such a crazy circumstance. But it also tends to lead in with the whole mental health aspect thing, and and I know drugs may or may not have been involved, but some people have such brilliant minds, just such brilliant minds. They tend to tie in with, mental health issues. And they're saying that might be a part of it as well. But
drugs are bad, okay?
I would definitely,
I can't.
They're very, very bad.
I can't count on two hands the number of times.
Stay there. Just stay there.
Yeah. I can't count the number of times on two hands drugs have destroyed a relationship.
There?
Yeah, we're here.
We're here.
It's you that's choppy. Can you hear us?
Mm-hmm.
Drugs are bad.
Yeah, no, I
sometimes drugs are bad, but the circumstances that lead people to take drugs to escape from whatever reality they need to escape from.
A lot of it's tied into mental health.
It is a lot of it,
and it goes back into our medical health system. It's hard to get mental health assistance, even with insurance.
I noticed one of the comments on your post was that you had a recommendation for a mental health person, and the other person commented back that their insurance doesn't even cover that, or they are without insurance right now.
They're without
so they can't
insurance
even
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And last year, I should have been in therapy last year, but last year the mental health coverage on my plan was mental health was considered a specialty. And so I had to have a referral, and it was $50 per visit to see them. And I was like, I can't afford that. I need to be in therapy like every week or every other week. Like, I need to be seeing a therapist a lot. I can't afford $200 a month to get my head screwed on straight again. Like, and now it's $25 a visit, and I have a out-of-pocket limit, so, which I will definitely fucking hit before the middle of this year. But after that, then the insurance pays for it all. So, like, clearly you are fucked up. Like, I've been trying to tell y'all that for a while. But yeah, I think Toxie's having some very serious
internet issues. Well, she does live on the edge of town where it snowed. So maybe she is having snow issues.
Yeah. I'm just going to text her real quick. We're closing it up. All right. So, we're going to leave you now. This is the end of the show. We'll get to all of that, but I haven't done any call to actions during this show. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We don't make any money on YouTube because we say, fuck, see, look, I just lost this money on YouTube. If you want to support us, please, their Patreon link has been above us this whole time, but I haven't done the scrolling thing. Please support us on Patreon. For as little as $3 a month, you get full access to us on Discord and our super secret Facebook group, because we're lowering the levels and some of this stuff because we want to get you people in. It's marketing. It's capitalism. We don't do this for a living. We have regular ass jobs. I would love to be able to have a better insurance plan because I can afford to pay for it myself, but I'm not making any money at this. If you want to support us, please do follow us on Patreon. We post stuff in there occasionally, mostly on our super secret Facebook group. Yeah. Love you guys.
That's about it.
That's about it. I'm Sierra.
Toxie has an Instagram if you want to follow Toxie.
Yep.
Who's been with us most of the night. She has her own Instagram as well as the Sin City Bounty Instagram. We all have personal pages right here on Facebook. And then, of course, our main Facebook page is Sin City Bounty, which is where this video is housed. Woo-hoo. So you can come watch it over and over and over again.
Yep.
All right, I'm Alexia. I'm Alexia.
I'm Sierra.
And we will see you next time.
If you're brave enough. Later, bitches.
Later, bitches.
I gotta stop this. I gotta get used to doing this again. All right. Broadcast is stopped.